Welcome to B-Mitzvah Bites, a new bite-sized podcast from PJ Library. Each episode, you'll hear real kids ask the hard-hitting questions about how to prepare for their B'nai Mitzvah. The best part? They'll receive answers and real-life examples from older kids who recently had a bar or bat mitzvah ceremony. You'll hear everything from who to invite, how far in advance you should start preparing, tips for memorizing your Torah portion, how to deal with nerves, book recommendations, and so much more. Let's get right into today's bite with Ellery and Sophia. We're talking about preparation and speech writing.
In what ways would you do to prepare to read out the Torah, and what would you do so you can write your essay? What would you use as your inspiration?
Okay, that's another really good question. You all are really awesome. Okay, I'm going to answer the first part of the question first for preparing and practicing for reading the Torah. Before I even started reading it in Hebrew, I read an English translation, which maybe made the whole thing feel a little bit more exciting. I wasn't just reading words that I didn't understand. I was actually reading a story. It can be helpful to take it bit by bit. I actually, the rabbi that I was studying with had me learn it backwards, the third part, then the second part, then the first part, because what the cantor wanted was I would feel most confident on the last part, the conclusion. So it wouldn't be I'm doing great, I'm not doing so great after all. That was probably really helpful, although I didn't understand why at first. It can help to take it one little bit at a time so that the whole thing doesn't feel so overwhelming. Another really helpful thing was a week before, we actually unrolled the Torah scroll and then took a picture of it so that I could practice reading from the actual scroll rather than just the copy that I had at home. That was incredibly helpful. Other than that, I'd just say practice. Having a good teacher or rabbi or cantor to help you through. Maybe having a friend that you can talk to about it. I did this more on my own, but I imagine that could be really helpful. I think that if you get all of that, then the Torah can feel like a breeze. Don't get me wrong, it's still hard, but it can feel a lot more doable. And then about I'm sorry, your second question was about the speech and the essay. So like I mentioned before, I started writing it way too late in the process. I was I have 4 months. I'm gonna wait until there's a month left. That'll be fine. It wasn't a good idea, but it can help to see one thing that I've always found really helpful when I'm writing anything is to be okay with starting over. It can, if you're writing something that you're really not liking, it can feel like you're trapped in it and you have to take this thing that you're not liking and make it into something better. I found it really invaluable in parts of my life to just be able to be okay with saying, you know what, I'm deleting this and starting over. I don't have to make this into something good. I can just start with something better. And now I'm going to go and disagree with myself and say that it can really help to be okay with just brain dumping out on the page for your first draft. And maybe your first draft is just going to be a bunch of weird thoughts that you've got on a page that sounds nothing like a speech, and that's okay. Because that's okay. That's what a first draft is. I actually once, when I was brainstorming for something, I just basically wrote every thought that came into my head, even if it was snails, ? Why snails? ? Okay. And that actually, I got some good ideas out of that. It was a pile of sewage with gems in it. And then the other thing is that it can help to read your speech aloud, because sometimes that can help you find things that you might want to correct that you might not have noticed if you were just reading it on a page. And like I said, connecting it to something personal is so important and can make the whole thing feel so much better. Yeah, I think that if you've got a lot of those things down, then the speech is going to be incredible.
Thank you so much for hanging out and listening today. And a special thank you to our PJ Arway design team and alumni for being on our panel and chatting. Our music is Enjoy Life with Your Family by Awesome Music. This podcast is produced and mixed by Allie Thresher with production support from Emily Brown, Rachel Goodman, and Elizabeth Korlitz. Barb Bastion created our art. This is a PJ Library Presents production. For more PJ Library podcasts and to sign up for free Jewish books, visit pjlibrary.org.